this is Russ. Yeah, it's time for some questions and answers. I hadn't done this before in the past because it requires me to be inside to do it, and I've been trying to get out and riding more often than anything. But I made a video just the other day about my flat tire, and I did that inside. So I figured since I'm inside here doing it, I might as well do the question and answer one too. So that's what we're going to do today, okay? So I'm going to look off screen every now and then and take a look at the questions that you guys have. And I'll just read the questions that you've given me, and I'm going to answer them. Okay, this is long overdue. These are questions that were asked quite a long time ago. But yeah, I tried to do it before. I put it on my phone, but the bright sun washed everything out, and the letters are really small. You can't read anything. So okay, so here we go. So we have, first one is from Gerardo, it says. He says, what video editor do you use? I have been using CapCut. First off, I don't know what CapCut is because I don't use it. But I use the Apple Final Cut Pro. I think it's version 10, so it's Final Cut Pro 10. It's got an X. It's a Roman numeral 10, right? But that's what I use, yeah. I use Apple computers, so it's easy that way because when upgrades happen to the software, you get that for free. It's part of the Apple program. As long as you bought the program from them and it's an Apple program, all updates to your software is free. And since I have Apple computers, that's what I use, okay? All right, thank you for your question. Next one's from Joe Rascillo, and he says, is there any standard amount of miles we can expect from e-bike motors? I've got over 2,500 and it's a little more noisier, but still running strong as new. Yeah, I don't know. I have a Rad Rover 5. I have about 3,000 something miles on it at this point, and it's still going strong as well. So I have no idea. If you got a good bike that has a good motor in it, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna last a while. Yeah, but I've gotten over 3,000, and there's no sign of that bike having any issues going forward. So I think just kind of have to hope that it goes well. All right, thank you for your question. Now we have Paul Prusser. Sorry, Paul. Preusser. How would you pronounce that? Prusser? Paul Prusser. I'm going to say it's Paul Prusser. All right, so he says, will Russ get a sidecar? Will Russ tear out non-load bearing walls to make more space for his e-bikes? Stay tuned to this same Russ channel, same Russ time. Okay, Batman fan, right? No, Russ will not get a sidecar. And I will not tear out non-load bearing walls to make more room for the e-bikes. You know, the e-bikes have gotten out of control at this point. And I'm not kidding. And I know that some people feel like, you know, you're bragging when you're talking about all your bikes, but I'm just telling you guys what's happening, okay? I think in the house right now is about 18 e-bikes. Yeah, it's quite a few. But we all know this, right? Because this is what happens when you review bikes. It's just going to keep coming in, and I think there's another one coming in. The Deer Mini is coming in this week, and also there's another one that I told them to put on hold simply because I haven't heard from the company. Communications hasn't really been that great with this other company, and I told them to put it on hold until after I get back from my trip. So I don't know whether they are still planning to send or not. It's just poor communications on their part at this point. They told me that it was coming, but I don't know. I don't see anything from a FedEx label or anything shows anything is coming. So I emailed them and said, hey, if you haven't sent it out, don't bother. Okay. Now you can take that two ways. Don't bother to ever send it to me. I'm seriously thinking maybe that might be the case, or you know, hold off until after I get back. So if I don't hear back from them, I guess after I get back, yeah, I'm going to tell them forget it altogether. Yeah. If the communications aren't good, you know, even to me, I keep thinking, how will they be for customer service down the road? So if they're watching me, yeah, that's pointed out to you guys. Okay. So anyway, yeah, Russ can get kind of downright mean sometimes. but I'm looking out for for my viewers too. I don't want to be writing something and doing a review on a product that maybe has bad customer service. I don't want that either. So, okay, thanks for your question. Carl Hassler says, I'd like to see you ride and review a mid-drive bike. Yeah, I would like to try one too. Do you see that happening? Well, you know, the manufacturers who have supplied bikes to me so far have not made mid-drive. Well, okay, I take that back. There are a couple of companies who have mid-drive bikes, but they have not offered it to me. Okay, so here's the thing with these bike offerings. I don't usually go out and ask them for bikes. It's if they offer it to me, then I make a decision whether I take it or I don't. But to date, none of the companies have offered me a mid-drive bike. Now I know that Himiway has a mid-drive bike. Yeah, but it wasn't offered to me. Okay. So unless they offer it to me, I can't go begging for it. So yeah, I don't know if that'll ever happen. Okay, thanks for your question, Grandpa Dan, this old man. that's his handle. Grandpa Dan, this old man. Okay. He has two questions. He says, "What do you use to lubricate your chain?" Yeah, actually, I do have a chain cleaner and chain lubricant type of product. It is in the description of all of my videos because there's accessories that I always list down there. You'll actually see what it is. Offhand, I can't remember the name of the product, but I do have Amazon links to it. So I'm going to ask you to take a look at that in the description of all the videos, okay? Because it'll be there. And by the way, if you don't want to look at that, there is the RUSSISRIGHT.blogspot.com site. Yeah, it's a blog page, right? And it's just a duplication of all the stuff that's in the description of the video. And it actually might be even more complete than the other because being that it's kind of like a blog, I can put as many things in there as I want, whereas the description of the videos always have a limitation of how many characters you can put in the description before they cut you off, okay? So if you want the most updated stuff, check out russisright.blogspot.com. So Russ is right, all one word, .blogspot is spelled blogspot.com, okay? All right. He also asks, have you ever had a bike lose power because the outside temperature was too hot, upper 90s? No, actually the only time I've actually had a problem with the battery going down was that unit pack power battery pack. And it wasn't because of the heat, all right? It was because it had a bad controller, all right? So, not a controller, what do they call it? BMS board, battery management system board. And so we went back and forth with Unit Pack Power. They sent me the wrong board, then they sent me the right board, but it didn't work. So ultimately, at the end of the day, they sent me a whole totally brand new battery, right? So since that point, it has never had a problem. But apparently, other people who watched that video had said that they had the same similar problem. So I have a gut feeling that maybe that particular run of batteries that they made may have had some bad boards. And so after they sent me the other battery, I've never had a problem again with it. So yeah, that happens. I mean, people always will blame companies for products, and I'm not sponsored by them. I just bought one on Amazon, right? But I kind of believe that they make a decent product, but sometimes you have some bad parts that go out, and apparently they must have because others have mentioned before they had similar problems with their battery, and they ended up doing the same thing. They tried to fix it, and ultimately they just sent them another battery. So, all right, thank you for your question. The Captain 756 says, do you notice that a lot of public bike racks don't accommodate fat tire bikes? That's actually true. All right, and that's because when they made these racks way back when, we didn't have fat tire bikes. They're probably made for bikes that are, standard road bikes, maybe mountain bike tires. They don't accommodate 4-inch fat tires. It's true. He says, I know some of the newer bike racks are better, but not all businesses or other public places have them. Yeah, it's true. Here's another thing too. People have asked me, have you ever gotten your bike on the Metro train? And that's a train we have in the Chicago area. Even so, I don't think it would accommodate the tires of the big fat tire bikes. Yeah, and I think you have to put it in there in order to ride the train. So, yep, it's a problem. Grouchy Dude says, e-bike question, are you planning on getting a trike in the future? We just had a video about trikes, and I said there's no e-trike in the future of Russ is Right. Now, I'm going to backtrack a little bit on this one. Nothing is planned for the immediate future, but it doesn't mean that down the road, if one of our existing manufacturers comes up with an e-trike and says, Russ, will you try this e-trike out? I would probably say yes at that point. But as far as new companies coming in, unless they're very competitive or unless there's something specific about that e-trike that's something I would like to try out, the answer would be no. I probably would not be seeking out e-trikes. There's a couple of reasons. Is because, first off, e-trikes are kind of big. As I told you already, the bikes are spilling out all over the place in this house, and an e-trike takes up even more space. So I don't see myself doing it unless one of our existing companies I've already worked with has come out with one and says, please try this one or review it. I will probably accept that one because I'm already working with that company. But as far as new ones, unless it's something really good, the answer probably would be no. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and as far as, let me tell you real quickly, our entire living room has bikes now. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Every possible space in that living room now has bikes, plus the dining room, plus my downstairs office, and the garage. Where would I put this? I would end up having to put it in the family room and all that. It's just too much spillover. I just can't do it. So, yeah, no e-trike unless that's from a company we're already working with. All right. Thanks for your question. Jerry T says, "Are you planning any long trips?" Well, yeah. Actually, I'm heading off to Alaska in about a week or so. But it's not going to be an e-bike trip. It's just a pleasure trip. So it's a cruise. Yeah. So I'm going to be going up there now. In Alaska, they do have an e-bike ability to take an e-bike, what do you call it, excursion, right? My sister wanted me to do that because I'll be heading out there with my sister's family, okay? And I told her, I says, no, I'm not going to do it because, reading the description, it says it's strenuous. First off, I don't have very big leg strength, and I don't know how far they would be riding. And because I'm a heavier rider and I throttle a lot to help me along, I don't even know if they have throttles. I don't know if the bikes that they supply on this e-bike trip are class 1 bikes, class 2 bikes, or class 3 bikes. I have no idea. And I don't even know how big of a battery they supply. So I would tend to think, since they mentioned it's strenuous, they expect you to pedal probably to be able to go the distance. And what happens if I can't, right? Can I even get back to where they started? Because I'm going to eat up more battery than the average person because I'm a heavier rider. So ultimately, I decided not to do it. I was tempted, and when I saw that they had it, and my sister pointed it out to me, I said, the more I thought about it, I said, no, it's probably not safe that I do it. So if I had a better knee and a better, stronger leg, and I wasn't quite as heavy, maybe. But yeah, I can't do it. Other than that, yeah, the only other trip coming up would be to Chicago, which is the bike to drive trip. Yeah, so Labor Day weekend, they have a 30-mile ride on Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. They close down the entire street, so only bikes go on it. So, yeah, we'll be doing that one. Okay? All right. Thanks for your question. Cheryl Newell says, one question I have is there any bike trainers to use on our e-bikes so that you can exercise in the winter? I have checked around. Yeah, I don't know. What she's asking for is something that lifts up the rear tire so that you can pedal and use your e-bike like a stationary bike. I don't know of any. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I just don't personally know of it. So for the rest of you guys who are watching this video, if you know of one, put a comment and let her know, okay? Put a link for her maybe. Well, okay, let me talk about links real quick. Don't put a link because if you put a link, it's going to flag it. If you want to put a link, do it this way. Put the name of the thing, write out the word ., and then write out the word .com. All right. If you actually put the name of it .com and put an actual period there, YouTube will flag it and it'll go into the holding zone. All right. And you won't see that comment until I see it and approve it. So, and sometimes that could take a day or two before that happens, and sometimes it's even longer because sometimes I don't check the holding zone. The holding zone is where YouTube will flag your comment for review from me before I actually approve or disapprove of it. So just write the words out, write the word "dot" out, okay? That way you can put it in there. All right. Thanks for your question. Mike Rod, I'm going to think MKERODD. And they ask, Mr. Wright, I'm known as Mr. Wright. Yeah, and my wife is known as Mrs. Wright. Mr. Wright, do you use a tire liner for protection? Thanks, Mike from California. Yeah, he's talking about what do they call those tire liners? You know what I'm talking about, the big red tire liner thing. See, this is the memory problem. I told you guys. It's on the tip of my brain, and I can see it in my mind. I can't come up with a name. No, I don't have any of the tire liners. The only thing I have is slime on one tire. 2 tires, 1 bike on the Rad Rover 5. But other than that, I don't have anything. I haven't had a flat until now. I told you on the last video. Yeah, I got a flat recently with a nail that went through it. I think if I had the tire liner, wouldn't have saved this thing. My wife asked me, where do these nails always come from? I'm thinking they're probably like roofing nails. Yeah. Where else would a nail just come out of nowhere, right? Unless somebody did some roofing or something. So, no, I don't have any, but I know what you're talking about. It'll come to me probably at the end of this video because it'll be turning around in my brain and eventually it'll just pop out. Tannis armor. There you go. It took me that long for it finally to hit my brain. No, I don't have any of the Tannis armor liners. Or who else makes it? Is it Mr. Tuffy or Mr. something like that? Yeah, I don't have that. But I don't think it would have stopped this nail. Yeah, the nail's too long. And it went all the way through it. All right, Richard Landreth. He says, Russ, are you considering trying and reviewing a mid-drive bike? Same question as the other one. Yeah, I would like to do it just to see how it is, but none has been offered to me. Michael B. says, I don't know if my e-bike is different from other models because it did not come yet, but mine is saying that it has pedal assist and throttle. Can you use pedal assist? I'm sorry, can you use the throttle even when pedal assist is off? Now this depends. Some bikes, when the pedal assist is at 0, the throttle won't work either. On some, even if it's at 0, it will work. And on some, you don't even have a 0. You have a 1 through 5. All right, so it really depends on the bike. So we don't know. Every bike is different. Okay. And he also says, also when you are braking, do you use both left and right brakes at the same time, or just the left or just the right? Use both at the same time. Okay. And specifically, if you only use the front one and don't use your back one, you could fly over the handlebar. Yeah. Evenly brake with both brakes at the same time. My e-bike is coming by UPS. Thanks, Russ. Okay. By now, he's probably already got it. All right. Hopefully, he hasn't flown over the handlebars. Okay. Joe Walthy, W-A-U-T-H-Y, says, my main question is, how can I fix my thumb from getting numb after riding for about 12 to 15 miles? Yeah, don't use the thumb throttle. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, if you're using the thumb throttle. Or are you talking about the fact that just by holding the handlebars and your thumb gets numb? I don't know. Either way, I don't have an answer for you. Don't grip so hard. I have no idea. I know that you can cut up the blood circulation if you're not careful. If you're really pushing down pressure on your hands. A lot of people sometimes try to raise the handlebar stem. Get a handlebar stem adapter so it raises it taller, so you're not leaning into that handlebar as much. That might help. Okay. All right. Thanks for your question. Dr. J. Munn says, why haven't e-bike manufacturers gotten together and agree on a common set of standards for range, much like autos have to specify X miles per gallon? That's a good question. That is a good question. I don't know. They all want to basically say that their bike has a lot of range, right? We all know that. And we all know that we never get that. Okay, Mrs. Wright might actually get that because she pedals all the time. In fact, she probably exceeds theirs. because she doesn't weigh that much and she pedals all the time. But I don't know. I don't know why they do that. I mean, the thing is every manufacturer wants to say that theirs is better than the other guys, right? So maybe they will never get together to do that. So who knows? All right. All right, I'm going to stop for a second. I need to change the battery on my GoPro. I can see that the battery meter is kind of getting ready to get down. So sit tight. I'm coming right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry if the camera angle might be slightly different. I think I moved the camera a little bit. Here's an interesting thing for you guys who use GoPro batteries. After pulling out that battery, man, that battery was hot. And it actually swells a little bit. It was swollen up so much that as I pulled it out, it was hard to pull it out because it's swollen up a little bit. And it's a little squishy when you push on it. So it really heats up quite a bit. So it's an issue with GoPro cameras that they overheat. It typically doesn't overheat as much for me when I'm riding my bike because the wind blows on the camera, kind of cools it down a little bit, but it's stationary right now, so yeah, it was pretty warm. All right, next question. Norgman, practical, helpful reviews and tips, okay? He says, I need your opinion. I'm 6'0" and 225 pounds, okay? I like to have full leg extension when pedaling. I ride only on roads. Given this, which is more comfortable for a 25 to 30 mile ride, the Ocelot Pro or the Cruiser Pro? All right, here's the key thing. Now, obviously, weight is a factor, but in this case, between those two bikes, that's not the factor. The factor would be the fact that he's 6 foot tall, all right? Ocelot Pro has a 20-inch by 4-inch fat tire. The Cruiser Pro has a 26-inch by 4-inch fat tire. Go with the Cruiser Pro. At 6 feet tall, between the two, I think you would fit better on the Cruiser Pro, a larger tire. My personal preference is the larger tire bikes, but I have a number of 20-inch fat tire bikes which are more nimble. It'll move easier. You know, if you're manipulating a bike and you got to make quick turns and stuff, you'll probably do better on the Ocelot Pro because either one will work for you. But based on the fact that you're 6 feet tall, you might enjoy the 26-inch tire bike better. And he wants full leg extension. So yeah, obviously the 26-inch tire bike has a larger frame, so you would probably get better extension because it'll probably be able to accommodate a taller rider, okay? All right, thanks for your question. William Conklin asks, hi Russ, which GoPro are you using, please? Thank you. A lot of people ask me this. Why do you guys ask me this? Hero 10, GoPro Hero 10. Now, I know they have a Hero 11, but there was no reason for me to upgrade. Hero 10 does just fine for me. Now, I did have a Hero 9 for like a couple of days. And right as I had it, the Hero 10 came out. So I returned the Hero 9, got the Hero 10. Now the Hero 9 actually had some issues, and I think it's pretty much known issues for overheating problems. Even the Hero 10 still has overheating problems, but that thing had a lot of problems. So I only had it for a couple of days, and I said, this is tough to deal with. The Hero 10 works well. I don't know how the Hero 11 does. I would assume that it should be better than the Hero 10. But I'm using a Hero 10, just so that you know. Okay. Paul Ketchum, he says, hey Russ, Himiways are really nice looking, sturdy quality bikes. Any chance of Himiway introducing a new model for you to review? Yeah, just for me to review. No. Himiway has only supplied the Zebra to me. They do have, I think they had like 3 new models came out this year. None of them were offered to me, okay? So yeah, I only have the Himiway Zebra. If they decide one day to give me something else, we'll make a decision whether I will do that or I won't do it. So, you know, even with existing manufacturers, I have turned down certain bikes before. So if it's something that I think is valuable for you guys to see and that I'm willing to take in to take up even more space than the lack of space I have here now, then I'll decide whether I take it in or I don't. But no, at this point, Himiway has not offered me anything other than the Zebra, okay? I hope that the Canadian wildfires are not affecting your suburb area of Chicago really bad air quality. Yeah, well, sometimes we get bad air still. Yeah, you know, the first time we actually noticed it, it was really bad. I mean, you looked out there, it looked like a like a haze, like a fog and a haze. You couldn't see very well through it. Then the second time that it happened again, you can see it wasn't quite as bad as last time, but you could still see it. And we're just talking a couple of days ago. It's not that long ago. So it's cleared up now, but I think what happens is it comes down our way, and I look at the air quality information on the weather reports, and if the air quality says it's bad, I don't go out and ride. I don't go out. If the air quality says good to moderate, then I will consider going out. So yeah, we still have that issue. And it seems, of course, it continues to blow down further south. So when it's done with us, it goes to the next city. So yeah, hopefully the Canadian wildfires can get under control and everyone can get back to normal. So he says also, we have so many wildfires here out in Northern California. Yeah, I know. My sister who lives out in the San Francisco area had told me the same thing, that at one point she showed me some photos. It looked like it looked really bad. You couldn't even see down the street. It was so bad. So yeah, I've seen wildfires before. I lived out in San Diego for 8 years, and I remember when we first moved to San Diego, I'm talking like within the same day that we first came down, we could look off to the side and we could see wildfires on the side of the hills and stuff. Yeah, not good. I don't know how those started. I don't know if that was because someone threw a match out there or a lit cigarette or something. But yeah, you got to be really careful, especially guys that smoke. Don't throw them out the window, because I mean, unless you put it out first and then throw it out the window, don't even throw it out the window, because you could start wildfires. It happens a lot. So Hawk's Nest says, "Hi Russ, wife and I are new to e-biking, and my question is, does it not matter if we are in 7th gear or any other gear? We really don't have any resistance on the pedals. We mostly only use PAS 1 or 2, and it's like we are just moving our legs, not really pedaling. Is there a setting that I can change in the controller to make it not so easy? I have a full manual for my controller, a SW900. I did around 2 months of research on e-bikes and asked a friend that has one before I purchased them. The bikes we have are 750 rear motors, and whatever PAS mode we are in, we can just rotate pedals the same speed, and it just goes faster in PAS 1 through 5. Did I make the wrong decision on the motor size? Are all e-bikes like that?" Okay, what he's talking about really is ghost pedaling. So is there a setting on your gears or on the PAS thing so you don't have to ghost pedaling? And the answer is no. No. It's all in the gear ratio. So the only thing you can do to fix ghost pedaling like that is to change out either the cassette, if you're the rear on your tires, your rear wheel, if you either have a cassette or what is the other one called? See, again, there's the fog in the brain. It's on the tip of my tongue. All right, you know what I'm talking about. All the gears in the back, okay? You can change that and have the ratio change, or you can change the chain ring, which is the one by your pedal, all right, to a larger amount of teeth. Teeth? Tooth? You probably have like 48T right now. Now, I did do a change on my Magicycle Cruiser. I changed it to 52T. Now, when I did that, it gave me less ghost pedaling, okay? But that 52T chain ring, which is the one that's closest to your pedal, right? The teeth closest to your pedal. It's so big that it barely makes it in there. In fact, if it was 53T, it would probably be scraping the frame. So luckily for me, the one that I bought fits in there barely. I don't have a chain guard anymore because I had to take that off in order for this to fit in. So it's a bare chain on a chain ring on that bike. But when I'm going fast, I can pedal better. Now, does it totally eliminate the ghost pedaling? The answer is no. I can still get ghost pedaling, but I'd have to be riding really fast on 7th gear to notice that, okay? Now, if you're changing only the front, all right, only the front, it would be the equivalent of like, all right, for instance, if you have a 7-speed gear ratio, setting. Okay, so you have 7 speeds on your derailleur. Changing that chain ring, gear 7 would feel like it's harder to push. Gear 6 might feel like your former gear 7. Gear 5 might feel like your former gear 6. Does that make sense? So it gives you a little bit more in that sense. Now, the problem with just changing the front is if you're going up a hill, okay, what happens when you go up a hill? You typically down your gears, right? So you go down to first gear maybe so it's easier to pedal up. First gear is going to feel like gear 2, which means you don't have like gear 1 anymore. So it'll make it even tougher to pedal up the hill. There was a question somebody asked me just recently about that, asking me whether the change of that 52T affected uphill riding. Yeah, it does. It makes it tougher, right? So you gain the non-ghost pedaling and faster speeds, but you hurt your up pedaling up hills because gear 1 no longer feels like gear 1. It feels like gear 2 at that point. Okay. Now, if you change the stuff in the back on the cassette, where I don't know what the numbers are, but on the smallest gear, the smallest little rotating one, okay, if that went even lower, all right, and again, I don't know. Let's say that was 14. If it went down to 11, okay, 11T instead of 14. I don't know the actual number, so don't hold me to this. But if it went down, then that small little thing in the back could help your ghost pedaling, okay? So it's a combination, you know. You want something bigger on the chain ring, which is where your pedals are, or you want something smaller in the back end, all right? That might help your ghost pedaling. So did you buy the wrong bike? Probably not. I think if you would have bought another bike, you'd probably have the same issue, but there might be some bikes that have better ratios. Now, recently, the Euphree bike that I got, it got updated. It's called now the Euphree City Robin X Plus. They changed the rear, okay? So they made it better, and I don't seem to notice ghost pedaling on that bike. So some bikes have made improvements to fix those things, okay? So that's one company that has continually fixed their bikes to make it better based on comments that they hear back from users, okay? I mean, they could have just said, hey, this bike ghost pedals, let's just drop this bike and we'll make a new bike, give it a different name. They didn't do that. This is one company that continually fixes the old bike. So the City Robin became the City Robin 2022, I think, and then it became the City Robin X. Now it's the City Robin X Plus. It's essentially the same bike that's been continually improved over time. So you got to give them credit for that. They at least keep trying to make their product better. Yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. The only thing is take a look at maybe changing out that cassette or changing out the chain ring. But be aware, if you change out the chain ring, that larger thing, like I said, I went from 48 to 52. Make sure it fits in there and it doesn't rub up against the frame. And you'll probably lose your chain guard because it'll stick out and it just won't work right with it. So, all right, that's all the questions I have. We finished through it. Hey, I'm sorry it took so long to do it, but again, I usually like to go out and ride rather than sit inside and do one of these talking heads video. But we did this a lot during the winter for you guys that are new, where we just run some older rides that I did in the background, and then I just sit here and talk. And it seemed to work well for the winter. People understood why we had to do it because I wasn't going to go out in the snow. And, you know, I thought about this too. I says, you know, the air quality is going to be bad. We may have to do this more often until that whole air quality clears up because I'm not going to go out when the air is bad for me. So hopefully you understand why. I don't want to be breathing that stuff in either. So anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Mid next week is when I'm heading out on my trip. If I'm able to get some extra rides in where I can pre-record some stuff, I will. If not, you may not see me for a week after that. So I'll probably be good until maybe, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week. And then after that, if you don't see any videos from me, you'll just know that I wasn't able to get out to do it. And then it'll be a week before I get back. So sometime in like early August, I'll be back again. We'll be riding out again. But yeah, I'll do my best. I can't guarantee anything. The riding has been spotty this year because of weather and because of air quality. So yeah, it's tough for everybody. You know, it's not just me. Other people have the same issues too. But some of the guys they just go out and do it. But you know, I look out for my health as well. I don't want to be, you know, breathing in stuff that I shouldn't be breathing in, and you know, it's just the way it is. I'm getting older. I gotta watch out for myself. All right. Anyways, thanks for your questions. I'll talk to you guys next time.